Welcome back, everyone, to Seahawk Central News, your source for the latest in local news and entertainment. I'm Trevor Bray.
And I'm Anna Phillips. Don't forget, you can keep up with us online at tealtv.org. Seahawk Central News airs every Monday through Thursday.
Stay tuned for an interview with Chancellor Miller, a peek at a Fort Fisher reenactment, and some words about UNCW's month-long deal with Gold's Gym from SGA President Keith Frazier.
Don't forget to head over to the sports desk with Trey Owings and the rest of the Seahawks sports team on the half hour.
Stay tuned because Seahawk Central News starts right now.
Our 16-foot, 3,500-pound great white is back again. Mary Lee was spotted just off of the Outer Banks on January 22nd. The shark was tagged in September of 2012 and has since been frequently traveling up and down the entire eastern seaboard. After her spotting on the 22nd, she continued to make her way up past Norfolk, Washington, D.C., the coast of Delaware, and New Jersey. Where will she go next? You can keep track of Mary Lee's movements online by searching for OceArc Global Tracking.
More than 200 people were killed in a fire that ripped through a crowded Brazilian nightclub. Approximately 2,000 individuals were inside the club when the fire broke out, which was twice the maximum capacity, said a state fire official. While a band performed the pyrotechnic show, authorities believe there might have been other causes that contributed to the inferno. Witness Javier Vieira said the fire started on the stage and quickly spread to the ceiling. Mayhem quickly arose as club-goers tried to push through the crowds towards the exit doors. Witnesses claim they were denied an outlet because of unpaid bar tabs. However, the club has refuted such claims. Many were repressed by smoke inhalation and others were trampled, ultimately leading to their death. Over 100 people were hospitalized. Police arrested 4 unnamed individuals on Monday with connections to the fire. Police official Marcos Viana said it was necessary to hold them prisoner temporarily because they need their statements to help them clarify the incident. No other word has been given on the arrest. The governor of Rio Grande do Sul promised that investigators would have all the resources they need to find out who is responsible.
148 years. That's how long it has been since Fort Fisher and General Robert E. Lee fell to the Union forces. January 15th marked the official anniversary, and a special reenactment was held on the 19th at the fort to honor those who fought at the last and largest amphibious battle of the Wilmington port. Our Logan Spaller captured the action. Logan?
The recent Oscar award-winning film Lincoln has drawn quite a bit of interest in the history of the Civil War, as well as Fort Fisher. This past weekend, guests were invited to join reenactors in helping celebrate the spectacular history of this fort, as well as commemorate its 148th anniversary.
Today what we are doing is our annual commemoration of the second attack on Fort Fisher. January 15th, 1865, federal troops finally attacked and successfully captured Fort Fisher, thereby closing off the port of Wilmington from Confederate supplies. And so today what we are doing is we are marking the anniversary by talking about just the Confederate defenders of Shepherd's Battery.
Well, there's actually a great turnout today. I was really pleased because sometimes we come to these and the weather might be bad and you don't have a great turnout, but it seems to have brought people all the way from Hampstead, Southport. I mean, it's just a lot of people came in and they're interested in the history and what went on here at Fort Fisher, which was put here for the defense of Wilmington originally. So I think a lot of people come out for the history. They bring their kids. It's a great area. You've got Fort Fisher, you've got the aquarium. It's kind of a crossroads of sorts, and I think it's a great location to have an event like this.
I think this is fantastic because somebody said a long time ago that you'll never know who you really are until you find out where you came from. A lot of people that are involved in these reenactments, they have ancestors. I just had a long conversation with somebody whose ancestor actually had something to do with the firing of the first shots of the Civil War. And this is very personal for these people, okay? And it's very important for them to be able to show their heritage.
We saw like the cannon and we climbed around it, and then we saw it blow, and when the thing went off the third time, you could feel the energy coming off of
Wow, what did you think about that?
it. It was pretty cool. My friends were in a tree and they thought they were going to fall off.
The theme of this year's reenactment was Shepherd's Battery, the Confederates defending the left flank. With over 50 reenactors, there were several events including artillery demonstrations, as well as cannon demonstrations, and then a little taste of the 1860s camp life. Event organizers say the event will definitely happen again next year, as it does annually, and then in a few years for the 150th anniversary, there will even be a reenactment of the Battle of Fort Fisher, which brought it to its knees. Until next time, I'm Logan Spaller, reporting for Seahawk Central News, Teal TV. Back to you.
This Valentine's Day, spend the night with your sweetheart live at Birdland. Birdland coined itself the jazz corner of the world. It was founded in 1949 as to host legends like Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, and more in New York City. Live at Birdland is a music showcase that brings the Big Apple's best jazz to our very own Port City. At 7 p.m., you can enter Keenan Auditorium for what the Time Out New York calls a music experience you simply must not miss.
The UNCW Board of Trustees gathered for their regular quarterly meetings on the 24th and 25th of January. Scattered across campus buildings, the board held meetings on educational planning and programming, business affairs, external affairs, endowments, and more. Provost Denise Battle spoke on the latest in the Department of Academic Affairs.
Whether a sports fan or not, it's almost a guarantee that most will be watching the Super Bowl come this Sunday. Or, at very least, mooching off some good food and drinks at a party. Tucker Marsden has more in this week's Talk on the Walk.
Hey Seahawks, I'm Tucker Marsden here for this week's edition of Talk on the Walk. It's that time of year again. Super Bowl Sunday is this weekend between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm here on Chancellor's Walk asking students what they're doing for the big game and who they're rooting for.
Well, this Sunday, a lot of my brothers of Lambda Chi Alpha were getting together at our house. And we already have a big order for Buffalo Wild Wings. We're pulling together. We've got some very fanatic Ravens fans because they're from the Baltimore area. We've got some big 49ers fans because they came from the West Coast. So we're pretty much going to have a head-to-head battle, probably split the table side and side.
At the beginning of the year, I thought that I'd go for the 49ers. They're just my Super Bowl pick from the start. So my heart says the Ravens, but my mind says 49ers.
Yeah. So my plans for the Super Bowl, all my friends, we're going to meet together, we're going to eat, just watch the game, cheer for our favorite teams, and just have a good time and hang out.
Super Bowl Sunday, I will probably be watching alone. My friends are going to be out of town I normally would watch it with. I'll cheer for the 49ers. I'm from California. I'm a California boy. That's my home state, so I have to support the home team. And I went to the very first Super Bowl in Los Angeles in '67. I'm very proud of that.
Well, my boyfriend's a Ravens fan, so I feel like I should probably go for the Ravens, but probably just sitting in his apartment with a bunch of friends, you know, being a little rowdy. Hopefully the cops don't come, but just having a good time.
So for the Super Bowl, I am meeting up with some of my friends that are in a club with me on campus called Young Life, and we're going to be cheering for the Ravens.
I'm going for the Ravens.
And I'm going for the 49ers.
What?
Probably go to my parents' house with my dad. He's a big football fan. My mom might cook up some stuff. We're rooting for the 49ers because we hate the Ravens. You know, we're big Steelers fan. We don't want to see them win anything.
So it seems like UNCW is very divided on this issue. I hope that everyone has a great game day and enjoys responsibly. This is Tucker Marsden with Teal TV. Back to you.
As of January 25th, a new local has become chairman of the Wilmington Regional Film Commission Board of Directors. Bill Vassar is the executive vice president of Screen Gems Studios and now chairman of the board. A member for the last 5 years, Vassar is taking over the year-long position from Carrie Jones, who will continue to serve as the vice chair.
This week, Teal TV brings you the state of the campus. In other words, an update from Chancellor Gary Miller regarding his second year at UNCW. Dr. Miller has plenty of topics to cover, in addition to a report released this week by the Chancellor's Office of Community Partnerships that stated economic impact of UNCW's volunteer service, which is valued at $3.89 million. Let's hear what Chancellor Miller has to say in this exclusive interview.
We're in the middle of revising the university's strategic plan, which are our priorities. And we'll have that done at the end of the semester, and so going into next year we'll be talking about which priority we're going to work on first. These are things that affect students because they have embedded in it where our first work will do to improve programs or bring new programs along and make programs different. On top of that, we have a new system strategic plan, which in fact there's a meeting in Chapel Hill going on right now where they're talking about that, which brings a lot of challenges to all of the universities in the system. We need to increase the number of students we graduate. We need to increase graduation and retention rates. We need to think about the role of technology in all of our classes. We have people working on all those now, and so as the year goes on, we will talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to approach those challenges. It will be really next fall when most of that comes together and we go back and revisit the vision that I talked about during the installation and say, oh, we've got these pieces together now and here we go. I've been in higher education 30 years and I've seen a lot of universities, worked at 4 or 5 or 6 myself, and this is a fabulous, extraordinary university. Students here are getting a relevant, rigorous education. The faculty here is superb, and every measure that you use of quality of institutions, we come out on top. And so I have no doubt we're among the best in the country. We'll stay that way.
Thanks to the Chancellor for that update. As the Student Recreation Center is still closed for renovations, UNCW students have been allowed to begin going to Gold's Gym locations to exercise. They have swarmed the gym's 3 Wilmington locations for the past 2 weeks. Our Liz Bernardo sat down with SGA President Keith Frazier to find out how UNCW staff and SGA have been involved with the whole debacle.
Many New Year's resolutions for the Seahawks were challenged as students returned to campus after winter break with the extended closure of the Student Recreation Center. I'm Liz Bernardo, and I'm here today with SGA President Keith Frazier to talk about the Gold's Gym usage that we have gotten for students. So, what prompted the deal with Gold's Gym while the Student Recreation Center was closed?
Once we got back from Christmas and holiday vacation, we talked about with each other and the students that were complaining about the current closure of the Student Rec Center and how to create an alternative solution for the meantime. So with student input, SGA advocacy, and a proactive response from the administration, we were able to get Gold memberships for free.
Oh, okay. You say that these memberships are free. Are they funded? Do we have to pay anything, or is the school paying for it, or SGA?
When I say free, really, it comes from our student fees. So right now, essentially, we're paying student fees for a facility that we weren't using. So taking those student fees to the facility that's closed are now being kind of transported to Gold's Gym memberships with your UNCW ID.
Oh, okay. So it's coming out of our tuition already?
Our fees, yes, our student fees.
Okay. How long is this deal going to run? Until the Student Recreation Center opens up again? Until the end of the month? How long?
February 28th is the last day that students can use the Gold Gym student ID membership.
Okay.
And in March, the grand opening of the expansion and the current facility will begin, but we anticipate that the actual current facility that's closed will reopen in March, and then we'll have our grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony for the expansion.
Oh, thank you. I'm Liz Bernardo here with Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
Strategy and teamwork are the themes in this week's Critics on Campus. Let's head over to Chris Vickery and co-host Logan Cobb to see what they thought about Hansel and Gretel and Gangster Squad. Chris?
Thanks, Trevor, and welcome to Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Logan Cobb. Logan, this time, as always, we have 2 movies we're doing. The first of which is Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, which is absolute gore fest, big dumb action movie, and does not apologize for it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, Hansel and Gretel from the old fairy tales grow up to become Americanized, gun-toting, you know, big bad britches, you know, like that's what they're here for. Wearing lederhosen, no less. But what did you think of this one?
Well, I mean, like you said, it is a big, dumb action movie.
Yep.
No story, no character development, but it didn't need that.
Nope.
You know, it's like they had a short budget and they said, we'll just focus on the action, and they did a great job doing that. I mean, this movie was entertaining, you know, and I going in, I did not think that would be the case, but I mean, you want to talk about killing witches in every creative possible way,
Yes.
and they did that. I mean, what has been done 1,000 times before, they did, but in a unique way. And I mean, I was entertained. I really liked it.
Their attention to detail and the ways of dismemberment and carnage are artistic. I mean, the Spanish Inquisition could take a few notes from these guys.
Absolutely.
And, you know, just like an automatic crossbow.
Yep.
And shotgun in, you know, middle century, you know, medieval Germany or wherever. And they're hunting witches with this stuff. And, dude, just so much blood.
So much.
It was awesome.
We saw a guy blow up. I mean,
yes,
that was ridiculous, but entertaining.
And
as a guy, that was awesome.
It was awesome. Yes, testosterone, I think, played a big
Absolutely.
a big factor in our enjoyment. But you know, no story to speak of.
None.
And nothing else really redeeming about it. Jeremy Renner, I think, needed to pay for his summer villa. But,
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, and he did so with panache.
Absolutely.
But out of 5 stars, what would you give this one?
Well, I mean, as weird as the movie is, I was entertained, and I can't give it a 2. So just for the entertainment value of it, I got to give it a 2.5. And it's a movie that if you're going to go see, you should go see it in the theaters, I think.
Yes, you should be able to hear the gunshots in complete surround sound. I'd have to agree, 2.5 stars. It's not as good as the 3 movies, but I can't in good conscience give it a 2. But that kind of leads us into our next one, Gangster Squad, which features an all-star cast. You got Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Sean Penn, Emma Stone, a whole bunch of awesome actors.
Yes.
And they're all in L.A. in like the 40s. And Sean Penn's a gangster. He's trying to take over the town. And so Josh Brolin and Ryan Gosling go vigilante and start blowing stuff up with bullets. Lots and lots of bullets.
Absolutely.
What did you think of this one?
Well, it's a unique movie. You know,
Yep.
it's like the Pro Bowl. You know, they have all-stars that just don't come to play.
Yep.
And that's what happened in this movie. You know, Sean Penn was, at times, he was Sean Penn. He was, you know, the guy that we've seen in so many great movies. But about 75% of the time, he was just a guy who looked like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan Gosling was Ryan Gosling, but with a 12-year-old voice. And it's a shame because this character required Ryan Gosling, and that's what he gave. You know, he was a ladies' man with a gun, except he had a 12-year-old voice.
Yeah.
And that was a little weird. Josh Brolin was cool. I liked his character. He was this, you know, hard cop, but unlike all the hard cops we've seen in thousands of other movies like this, he had emotion and he showed it. And that was kind of cool. And, you know, watching that, you could see that. But the story did fall short. You know, it's not what it could have been.
Yeah.
But the action, once again, we were rewarded, and it was pretty cool. I mean, just the amount of bullets used in this movie were ridiculous.
Right.
Bullets, explosions, car chases. I mean, it had it all as far as that's concerned, and I enjoyed that.
You know, it's a good excuse to go see old boutique cars and Tommy guns.
Yes.
And, you know, other than that, it's a mediocre story and another big dumb action movie. It doesn't really say much more than bullets kill people.
Yeah.
You know, they do a good job of that. And, you know, there's a guy who throws knives.
Oh, yeah.
And he's really good at it.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was awesome.
And there's that old man who's got pinpoint accuracy with a revolver.
Yeah, and he's just doing his
Which
cowboy
is
thing.
unique for this movie because they were guys with Tommy guns and they would go through 2 clips with 2 guns and miss completely everything.
Yep.
And then you had this guy who, you know, it was nice to see that someone could shoot in this movie.
And then some bare knuckle action,
Oh, yeah.
which was enjoyable
great.
and gratuitous amounts of blood with
Yep.
that. So again, testosterone playing a factor, but still an entertaining movie.
Yes. But
despite it all,
I don't know if it's, while I would give it a higher grade than Hansel and Gretel, I don't know if I would go see this in the movies. I think this one could wait for a Redbox.
Yeah.
But having said that, and with the story, I'd feel bad giving it just a 3.
Yep.
I got to go 3.5.
I'd have to agree. This is all 3.5 because it doesn't quite make it to 4.
No.
And both of these movies I'm just so conflicted because they could have been so much more, but I still enjoyed the heck out of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'd have to agree. 3.5 for this one as well. Well, that's it for this time around on Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Logan Cobb. This segment is brought to you by Carmike Cinemas. Also, be sure to check out Lumina Theater this weekend for Wreck-It Ralph on Friday and Life of Pi on Saturday. Back to you in the studio.
Women's sex and manumission was the topic of a guest lecture on January 28th. UNCW brought in Erica Edwards, a professor of Latin American history at UNC Charlotte, to give a talk on the history of emancipation for black women in Cordoba, Argentina. The event was sponsored by the Sociology, Women's Studies, and History departments, as well as the Diversity and Inclusion department. It was free and open to the public in Randall Library.
At this time, we'll turn our attention to local and national politics. Jessica, what updates can you offer us?
Hi Seahawks, I'm your host, Jessica Ferrer, bringing you the latest in political news. He's the mastermind behind Carrie and Children of the Corn, and now he's writing about gun control. Famous novelist Stephen King released a 25-page essay on his thoughts about the controversial topic. He starts the essay by spelling out the way that the media, politicians, and lobbyists respond to a gun-related tragedy, and how that tragedy slowly goes back under the radar until the next one. King is an advocate for legislation that would curb gun violence and offers a three-part solution: comprehensive and universal background checks, banning the sale of clips and magazines containing more than 10 rounds, and banning the sale of assault weapons. He also acknowledges his novel Rage, that he wrote under a pseudonym, about a high school shooting that he decided to take off the market because of it being an accelerant in, but not the cause of, similar shootings. The essay, which is only available through the Kindle store, emphasizes that both parties need to work together if change is going to happen. Mayor Bill Saffo gave his annual State of the City address on January 28th. Reporter Katie Nemrich attended the event, at which Mayor Saffo highlighted the city's accomplishments in 2012 and made other announcements.
I'm here at City Hall in downtown Wilmington for Mayor Bill Saffo's State of the City address. Let's take a look. The mayor began his State of the City address with one of Wilmington's largest accomplishments this year, the balanced budget. He spoke of plans to maintain the balanced budget without raising taxes and using the $23 million the city now has in savings. He also hopes to better the local economy with tax incentives to bring in new jobs. He cited the film and tourist industries as key to boosting the local economy.
The economic impact that the university and the community college has here is unbelievable. I believe that the university's impact could be over $1 billion in the region, and I believe that the community colleges probably could be $500 million. But they're tremendous economic generators for our community. Of course, a lot of the people that come to school here spend a lot of money on housing, on gasoline for their cars, on going out and buying food, and that money's regenerated into our community. It helps generate a lot of sales tax revenue that we as a city, as a county, and a state use to offset the delivery costs of services like fire and police. So it's a tremendous economic engine for our community, and it's something that we tout and we love.
Also touched on the increase of safety downtown and the 20-year development plan for the river area downtown. He closed his speech with a nod to the green initiative that has already been started and his hopes to drastically decrease the city's eco-footprint as a whole in the coming years. I'm Katie Nemrich. Back to you in the studio.
Sounds like a busy year ahead for Wilmington. Thanks, Katie. A bipartisan group of 8 senators did work together on immigration reform. The senators proposed a plan that would provide temporary legal status to the nation's 11 million undocumented immigrants. The immigrants would be allowed to work and stay in the country as long as they do not have a criminal record. The potential bill also called for making border controls stronger, improving the monitoring of visitors, and cracking down on hiring undocumented workers. The bill shows that the Republican Party is willing to compromise and work on immigration issues, especially since President Obama received a huge backing from Latinos in this year's election. Thanks for joining me for your political news, Seahawks. For Seahawk Central News, I'm Jessica Ferrer.
Does one penny really make a difference? That's the question the U.S. Postal Service has been discussing since October of last year. The service announced then that the cost of a first-class stamp would be increasing by 1 cent on January 27th. Other costs will also rise, but the first-class stamp is predicted to affect the most people this year. Overall, service costs will be increased by 4%, with a 6.3% increase on priority mail. The post office has been struggling with debt over the last several years due to many people using less and less traditional mail.
Gospel and blues legend Mavis Staples is set to perform at UNCW this upcoming February. Staples began her career more than half a century ago, singing with her family's gospel group. She rose to instant success after releasing the hits I'll Take You There and Respect Yourself. Her career is still beating, having won a Grammy in 2011 for her album You Are Not Alone. Tickets to see Staples' show are $25 to $35 and available for purchase now, as she is booked to perform on February 5th at 8 p.m. in Keenan Auditorium.
And that brings this episode of Seahawk Central News to a close.
Don't forget, Seahawk Central News airs every day at 5 p.m.
Be sure to stop by tealtv.org to catch up on each episode. Until next time, I'm Anna Phillips.
And I'm Trevor Bray, saying so long, Seahawks.